Some say it's all about 1925 and beyond. The podcast. KC 100 year celebration with Pete A. Kennedy and Marlon A. Kennedy.
Welcome, it's the 1925 and Beyond podcast. I'm your co-host, Pete A. Kennedy. I'm here with co-host Big Brother Marlon A. Kennedy, and we have another good session for you. This one is dear to my heart because when I get the opportunity to give back my talent to Kingston College, my birthplace when it comes to education, our guest today was a big part of that. So I can't wait to hear her story and what she has to share, but you know we have to drop the credits. I went to Kingston College 1992 between 1995, played Coles 93, 94, 194, moved on to Manning Cup 95. But as you've always heard me say, the journey at Kingston College didn't end there. But it's not about me, it's about the guests. Let's move on. Big Brother, co-host, what you have to say?
Hi, thank you, Pete. Welcome everybody to another episode of 1925 and Beyond. Co-host Marlon Kennedy went to KC as well from 1986 to 1993 and played and captained cricket teams at all three levels. So it's a pleasure today to get another distinguished guest.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our guest is not a Fortis by blood because she was not a student, but she is a true Fortis representative. We're so honored to have with us today Sonia Wilson-Watson. We're very careful to make sure that we include the Wilson-Watson because she was very clear in telling us that when she started, she was Wilson, and when she left, she was Watson. And we don't want to dismiss a Watson and them things, so we want to make sure everything clear. You understand? So big up yourself, Mr. Watson. All right, so we have with us the lovely Sonia Wilson-Watson. Sonia, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. But Marlon,
Thanks for having me.
Before you begin, Marlon, and before you go, Ms. Watson, I want to be clear. So, are we saying here on this podcast, 1925 and Beyond, that because Miss Watson, or I would say Madam Watson, did not attend the school as a student, that she does not carry purple blood?
Well, there's always a bit of transfusion we can do, you know. We can
okay,
always,
well, we know we
always have that blood transfusion and fix these issues with Miss Watson. But
then make it happen on 1925 and beyond, because that's the 100th centenary, and if we have to do the operation right here and do the infusion, we make sure it's purple blood she run when she leave here to see.
Well, Sonia, if I have to retract my statement, I do that right away. So it has been otherwise proven that she does have purple blood. So we will work with that and move forward.
I have more purple shirts than many KC old boys, you know.
Come on now. And look at the wall behind you. Look at all them purple plaques. Come on now.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Exactly.
Sonia, is me throwing a word, pun?
No, I'm not throwing a word because
of course.
Yes. Purple blood.
Yes.
Call name, Sonia. Call name.
All
right. So, in true fashion with our distinguished guests, we always ask them to start their story off by telling us a bit about themselves before KC, and then we'll transition into the time at KC. Let's have you, Sonia. Let's hear you.
Okay, well, I went to Arden High, which is nothing like KC, a school, very uptown school. So when I came to KC, you know, it was really, really different. I grew up in the Maxwell Avenue area, and I keep telling people, a lot of persons will say, Sonia, how you work so well with these boys? And I keep saying, their story is my story, because I have lived some of the life that they have lived. So it was hard for me to work with the boys at KC. So that's pretty much it. And after I left Arden, I went to Michael Teachers College. And
so why did you decide on a career of teaching?
Oh, when I just left school, I went and did National Youth Service, and they sent me into teaching. And initially, while I was at school, when they had careers there, I would not be seen by anything that had to do with teaching. I always wanted to be a nurse for whatever reason. But the first time I went to a hospital and I felt sick, I knew that was not for me.
You're thinking that at
that was the end of my nursing desire. So when when they said to do the youth service in a school, and I was working with children, I'm like, this is quite good, this is quite good. So that is how I ended up. Not by any design of my own, but the ministry just sent me to a school, and that was it.
Nice.
So you're one of those cases where teaching selected you. You didn't select it at all.
Teaching selected me. I can tell you that. One day, first of all, I looked at me and he said, "Miss, you really love children." And I'm in my heart, it's a pity you don't know. It was not my first desire, but it is what it is, and it has ended well for me, and I'm grateful for that.
So what did you study at Michael?
Oh, when I went to Michael, I did the secondary teaching course in English and religious education. So those were my options then.
So why you selected secondary school and not, the preschool?
No, I don't think I could manage little children. Little children, not me. Not me. Them clingy. And no, I could manage that. I wanted people that I could talk to and they could respond to me. And we had a good thing going. Not me with the babies. Not even at church. At my church, I'm like, oh, you're teaching and you're a counselor, you're not running. I'm like, no, I see them 5 days a week. That's enough for me. No, I am not into that part of it, the little baby ones at all.
So let me ask you a personal question now. So you have kids?
Yes, I have one daughter.
Okay, so you just couldn't wait for her to reach our teenage years.
Let me tell you, my daughter is purple, born, bred, everything. I was telling somebody on the weekend gone that my daughter started going to champs before she was 2. Ooh. So she is a Casey. She has more purple clothes than a lot of people I know are Casey persons. As soon as she could choose a color for her room, it had to be painted in purple. When she bought her car, the steering wheel thing is purple. And it's just praise the purple.
Yes.
Praise the purple.
What's her name?
It is what it is. She's Lorianne.
Lorianne. Big up yourself, Lorianne.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. That's very much interesting. So after completing your studies at Michael, when was your first teaching?
Oh, my first teaching job was, in fact, at KINGSTON College.
Oh.
Because what happened right after the summer break, when I was supposed to start in September, I saw an ad in the paper for a teacher of religious education at KINGSTON College, and I applied for the RE position. When I went and did the interview and they realized I had teacher training in English, language and literature, they offered me the post. And I accepted. And the rest, as they say, is pretty much history. Never went. My intention was never to go down there and teach no English. I applied for RE work, and they offered me the English work. And
so we have interviewed quite a few VPs and so forth, and they speak about the interview panel aspect of things. Do you recall your interview, who you had there? What was that like?
I know that there were persons from the English department, and Mr. Bruce was the principal at the time. I think it went well, because what happened for me, when I went for the interview, a member of the English department had just gone on study leave, so the vacancy was there. And I just happened to come at the interview at the right time. So that was how I ended up being employed as the teacher of English.
And what year was that?
That was in 1979. That time on born yet.
Wow, that's my year of birth, man. Just born.
No, you can't do me that. You can't do me that. I was 4. I was 4 at that time, son. Yes, please. I will accept your apology in the email, please and thanks.
Well, that was a long time ago.
So what was it like starting out teaching? Fresh out of university at KC.
Let me tell you something. It was challenging because I was very young, coming out of Teachers College and so on. But what frightened me was that I was placed on the evening shift. That time KINGSTON College had 2 shifts, morning shift and evening shift. And this young girl coming out of Teachers College, don't know anything about that era. didn't even know that he had a, I thought, didn't know about the Ellison Road campus, and that's where I was placed. But evening shift started at 1 o'clock and ended at 6:15. Now, if you know anything about timeline, by November into December,
Night.
6:15 is night.
Yes.
I tell you, that thing traumatized me for a while because I don't know the area. When school over, I look the place black. I'm like, Lord, what is this?
And where was home? Where was home for you then?
Home for me was in Pembroke. By this time now, I was living in Pembroke, but that was a good way off. And I did know the downtown area.
Yes.
So there were two other members of staff in the English department, Miss Northover. Some of the guys remember, she was a teacher of English too.
Yeah.
And Miss Cameron Davis, also another teacher of English. And we were kind of going the same area. So we bonded together and we said, all right, we're going to walk down the street together. Nobody can rush straight away one time. And we walked down, and we went to, I think, what the road name, down Victoria. And we waited and we get a bus. But I want to say on record that people think that the transportation system is bad now. It was always bad. We could not get anything in the night to go downtown. And sometimes we would brave it and say, all right, we're going to walk to National Hero Circle, try to get a bus from up there, so come back down to town to get a seat to go to Pembroke Hall. And it was not easy. But with time, well, the only good thing is that you didn't stay on evening shift forever. So each year the shift would change. So you had 1 year evening shift and the next year you had a morning shift. So after a while, by the year 2, I was into it. I could manage much, much better. But initially it was rough. I taught grades 7 to 9, language and literature then. And after a while, for whatever reason, I don't know what they saw in me, I was asked to be a grade 7 coordinator. So I'm teaching the English and I'm now managing the grade 7 program. So I had to interact with parents. Now the teachers who teach the kids, anything that happened to a grade 7 child was reported to me. Yeah. And, I'm going along as this young person. And then an opening came for grade 9 coordinator. Now those are the big boys.
Yeah.
And I was sent up there and I'm like, okay, this is it now. Me and these boys. But of course, we had some good times. I had to remind them many, many times. I might look young, but I am not young. I am.
I was just
careful. Be careful what you said to me. And like other things.
The little boy them push argument to you, Miss Watson.
Man. I would go to school some mornings and there were letters on my desk.
What?
And I'm like, these little people don't understand. But, it was really, really funny. But I'll share this. I think the most traumatic experience for me with that kind of thing was the boys. When I lived in Pembroke Hall, there was a youngster that was in my class. And I don't know or know where I live. Don't know. Because I made sure not to go on any bus that KC boys were on when I'm going home, because I don't want them to see my route. One day I was home and I heard some noise outside my gate. And I hear, this where she live, man, this where she live. And when I peeped through the window, it was like the entire class was at my gate.
What?
And they made noise and I did not respond. Gentlemen, let me tell you something. I died 1,000 times. I'm like, Lord, what am I going to do? Am I going to get out of this? Didn't pay them any mind. Eventually, they left. So I've had some of those things. And because of that, I was better able to talk to some of the newer teachers down the road when I became the counselor and say, listen, this too will pass. You just have to maintain your composure. Just remind them that you're their teacher. You're not the friend. And, it worked. I survived that. But it was not easy then.
And you answered that question I was going to ask. I was going to ask, how were you received as a young teacher then by the student population?
Yeah.
But you spoke specifically to grade 9, but what about grade 7 when you started? How was that?
Grade The grade sevens, I mean, they're new and I am new. And, you know, I had to reassure them all the time that, listen, it is not as frightening as it is. I remember grade seven boy whispered to me one day, and he said, Miss, I'm afraid, you know. And I'm like, what are you afraid of? He said, Miss, it's Casey, this, you know, I mean, Casey. He came from, I think, Greenwich Park, Greenwich Town Primary, one of those schools on Spanish Town Road. And I said to him, just remember that you passed your exam to come here. You're not here by chance. And each day I go to the class, I'd reassure him. And when he started to get good grades and realized, oh, it's not so bad then, you just have to bright, you know? But I had, and again, I say, gentlemen, because of my Maxfield Avenue experience, I went out of my way to ensure that anybody who come from that side of the world, I was there for them in every sense of the word, up to when I left. And some of them didn't know, you know, that was my reason for looking out for them.
Yeah.
Because I went to a school uptown and nobody know where you live. When school was over at Arden, everybody going up the road. That means that them live Ligani Mona up the road. Yeah, man. The two we take a little bus, go down. Half of them come off of half a tree, then the next of them come off a 3 miles, and I'm going all the way down to Spanish Town Road to go Maxfield Avenue. And by that time, after we passed 3 miles, there were only 2 of us left on the bus. So I understood their story. So that helped me a lot, even to today. And a lot of people don't know, because some people just, oh, you come from, no, I'm not uptown. I'm very much from down Maxfield Avenue. Just that I had the privilege of going to an uptown school and I saw another side of life. And that was a plus for me.
Yes.
I knew that there was something to aspire to.
Yep.
I wanted what I saw on that side of the world. And I tried to make my KC students realize that, look here, man, you can do it too. And you will get there. If I got there, you can do it too.
Yes.
So that's kind of pretty much it. And no, I got into
how did that consideration come about in terms of becoming a guidance counselor? And before you get there, at what stage in your career, how many years were you at KC in teaching before you made that transition? Yeah.
Oh, I taught for 10 years in the English department. But during that time, I went and furthered my studies. And for whatever reason, today I'm saying, why did I go into guidance and counseling? So I went and I did my degree in guidance and counseling, not knowing where any work is or anything. I just thought, having been with those children, that maybe, you know, it would sharpen my skills some more to better help them. So in 1990, the then guidance counselor on the Melbourne campus, she left, she retired. And because the school knew that I was trained in guidance and counseling, I was asked if I would take up the slack, and I said yes, because I saw what she was doing, and at the time, the need was really great, and nothing has really changed now. To be truthful, there have always been needy students at KC.
Always, yeah. That's
always, but the story has not changed. So that was why I took up that slot, and let me tell you, man, I think my life changed from then onwards, because I got closer to the boys, because children were being referred to me now because they have all kinds of needs. And as I said, I understood clearly where some of them were coming from. And as they say, the rest is history, to be honest. The rest is history. So that is my story about Casey.
No, sir, that is that. And I saw your story go, Miss Sonia, and I said, you know, that's done so, you know, and I saw this thing going on. So you have to get now in a bit more in the weeds in terms of guidance counseling, because we know how important that is. So what were some of the issues that you came across as a guidance counselor? Because for those who don't know, you say, yes, you do the welfare of the boys, but be more specific, you know, is it that you had, you know, dealing with the, you know, boys coming from troubled homes and their ability to acclimatize at school, boys' ability to interact with teachers, people coming with a poor background and not, you know, being able to fend for themselves, not being fed regularly, you know, what were these issues? Because, you know,
All right. That is so true, because not long after I went into guidance and counseling, I realized that some of those boys had some serious challenges. And what I found out that many times the teachers did not understand when you're employed to go into a class, and at that time the sessions were 35 minutes. That's not a long time.
Mhm.
But over there, some making noise and they get trouble, you're putting him out because the other children have to be taught. And it went on like that. But when they were referred to me and I interviewed them, I realized that these children were not behaving the way they're behaving because they wanted to be seen or because they were rude. They had some serious issues. So, that was how I started meeting parents and get the background. I did a lot of home visits. Everybody asked me, how you do it? I say, if you don't see where some of these children are coming from, you'll never understand their situation. Mm-hmm. And as I say, I have lived some of them life. So if they had, some of them had maladaptive behavior and all of that, all kinds of issues these children had. And because many of them came from situations where, for the most part, their mothers were single women, not many of them had fathers around, and these ladies were just frustrated. And if they did anything, it's boof, boof, boof. Tell them all kinds of things. When we get them, and the whole heap of female teachers at KC started being in their faces, I could understand the response of the boys. So part of my challenge too was to talk to the teachers and say, listen, it's not Rudy, no. You have to understand where he's coming from. And if you have a different approach, then his response to you will be different. Yeah. So that is where I started with them.
As you mentioned the about being frustrated with the boys.
Yeah.
We interviewed an old boy that said, when he went to get his report and his mother was there, and him have 13 subjects and 9 of them are 0. Him get 0 for 9 of them.
Yeah.
His mother said, no, if it but him thinks that him did bad. Him say him hear another mother a ball out say, who wonder what that can be selling.
No, man. Parents' Day was really an eye-opener. But for me, as the counselor, my thing was, I would say to them, because they come down to me and everybody, when you look out my door, everybody come, because the boy not learn nothing. Me said him not try. And it's not true. It really was not true that some of them were not trying. Some of them didn't have all the textbooks that their parents probably not even know so them to buy yet. And they were all, some of the children came to school hungry, them never eat anything, them not have no lunch, all of that. I remember a teacher brought a boy to me one day, one lunchtime, and she was about to knock him out. And she said, Sonia, talk to the boy for me, because not me, I'm going to knock him out. But she said what struck her when she grabbed the boy and said, come, me, I carry down at the guidance counselor. And the boy said, him hiss him teeth and said, you can't stay there from morning, me not even eat, no, you can't go to guidance counselor. And she said it did something to her. Because she said, I wonder if I really am hungry, why I'm behaving like that. Long and short, that was it. Yeah. When I started working with him and I provided him with the food, one day she came back and she said, Sonia, the boy starts smiling in class now. I said, belly full. So
less trouble.
Belly full now. So
yeah, learn from hungry belly, man. Yeah,
learn on hungry belly. Yeah, and she never understand that. And then in there use well a big word, and the people them were hungry. Frustration is going to set in. So, I mean, I have had numerous occasions with some of those children. And as I said, I have said to parents, them come out there and them decide. All right, in third form, you do 15 subjects. So a boy passed 10 and the mother come down there, she put in her, because really the fathers would be there. Put in her and I show him this. So I say, miss, you ever seen 15 subjects in any exam yet? And then back off. Because none of us did 15 subjects, none of us did exam. So that was an eye-opener for them. I'm going to say, all right, let us count how much he passed. And when we reached 10, I said, stop. I said, at 10, he passed out of the 15, Why don't you start commending him for the 10 that he has passed? Instead of, because what they looked at that time was averages. And averages don't really tell you the truth. I'm sorry to say it, because the parents, when them get it, if you're not coming at top 5, then you're dead, Then you're dead. So, and I spoke to school about that, and I said, maybe we need to look at how we produce their reports. And I found that worked because the parents started seeing things different. Instead of just embarrassing him because him failed so much, start with the ones that he has passed and see how we can best help him. So those are the things I think I brought to the table with those children. And let me tell you, at fifth form, I remember one boy, him no learn nothing over him. Him just get trouble. And every day I would talk to him. And when he went over to North Street at the 10th grade, I went to a prize giving. And the boy come first in the class. So I call him, I said, come here, man, come here. He said, miss, me just realized, that if me sit down and behave myself, I could have learned. He got best 6 results that year he did it. So all these children need is just that one person who will spend time to sit with them, listen to their stories, and try help them as best as possible. And I think that was where I came in at the time, because I have so many of these children. There was one boy, he was written off in grade 9. And I remember the then person in charge said, I don't care. And I said, but him can't leave him now, nobody. And she said, I don't care. You will take him over. I said, yes, I will take him over. And I went and I asked, she said, you have to find a class to put him in a film repeat, and you and them teach up. And I said, yes. Long story short, this boy had a hard life. When his mother died, he called me and nobody knew that side of him. Them just know him come to school bad and him no make so sense him come now come. Yeah. And I went and I decided to work with him. I remember when he was in fifth form, I said to him, listen, you have a phone. I will wake you up every morning at 5 o'clock. And gentlemen, every morning at 5 o'clock, I would call this boy because he's now living alone because his mother had passed.
Oh my.
And he said, yes, miss. And I would call him and I would wait. I said, it's time to get up and get ready. And meet me in Spanish Town, right out at LOJ Plaza there, so I will pick you up and carry you to school. And we did that for the entire grade 11 year. He passed all his subjects. One subject he never passed. He never passed because he never came, because that morning, for some reason, when I called, he never got up. And eventually, I said, miss, I don't have any exam this morning. I don't have to come in until late. Unfortunately for him, when he came in the afternoon, the French exam was in the morning. Not in the afternoon. My boy, ball, but I couldn't help him. Yeah. But he passed everything else.
He sat. Everything he took.
Everything else that
we just want to make that clear. 100% that.
100%. And the only thing that passed is the one French because he came the wrong time. And I said to him, this is life, my brother. This is life. Man. But he has made good of himself now. Really good. So somebody has to look out for these children. And I think at the time, that was my calling. I honestly believe that was my calling. Yes, I tell people all the time, teaching is a ministry. And if all of us who go into teaching see that is how we are called to serve, it would make a big difference in the life of some of our children.
Well, so, Sonia, you answered one of my two questions that I had for you, because I wanted to find out, what was it like dealing with a trauma situation where a student lost a parent, and you responded to that. My next question would be along the lines of, have you ever had to deal with a case of intervention where, based on the abuse or the neglect that's happening with the boy at home, then through your office and the school, it probably required for him to be moved from that home, or some drastic measures need to be taken for not only for the child's safety, but his welfare in general?
I have never had anybody removed from their home, because what I found out is that if you engage the parents and they see things at a different level, they realize that taking out their frustration on the child was not the answer. I have threatened to get parents arrested, and I meant it, because I remember this boy in the thief something, And the mother tapped him on him and broke him finger. And I took him to the hospital and I told the doctors what happened. And the police were called in. And, you know, she was dealt with. And she bawled and she carried on. But as I say, a lot of these single mothers is out of frustration.
Yeah.
I also had another boy now. Him now pushed his mother to the edge because he's fair-skinned. And of course, I always talk about child abuse and how parents would treat them children. So one morning he came and he just stretched out his two hands in front of me. And this little red picnic, him not saying nothing, just stretched out his two hands. And there were numerous wails on it. And I was like, okay, tell me what happened. And his mother beat him. Not tell me what I'm doing, his mother beat him. And of course, I could not pretend that I had not seen it. So I called her and I spoke to her. I said, you'd have to come in, but this is also a case that I would have to report to the police. Good thing about KC is that we had a set of police down Ellison Road that we and them are good friends. So we call them come. So it's not arbitrary police came, you know, the Ellison Road police came and they sat her down and they spoke to her because I don't think the boy want the mother going to jail neither.
Yes.
Just want to send her a message. And I, as I said all the time, I have to do what I have to do as a counselor to protect these children. And the good thing, she took him to a doctor. Next thing we know, it's a KC doctor she came to. So him called me and said, boy, Miss Watson, not somebody in a trim brown, why them look so? And, you know, he tidied it up and that went well. So, and I did a lot of referrals to psychiatrists and all those things. Because some of those children had some real mental health issues. I've had a boy who had schizophrenia. And, you know, to get him parents to believe that something to him is something else, because people over them, and, you know, that kind of thing. That was difficult for me. That was the difficulty, that a lot of these parents would not accept the fact that the child is not well. No, Mr. Smarty doing so. I said, no, he has a mental health issue. This is a medical condition. But we in Jamaica, we're not into that. We're not into that. But those were some of the challenging things for me. And I just had to do what I had to do in a kind way. And, you know, but it is what it is. It's a part of the job. And the children were my first priority. And I always told the parents that. I said, look here, I am not going to jail for any of you. And when the children come, school is supposed to be a safe place. And if the trauma is at home, I have to deal with it and I have to talk to you. So that was how I kind of managed some of those things. But it is difficult. It's difficult.
A lot of the times, Sonia, you know, the focus at the school with the guidance counselor is with the surrounds the students. You know, what were the challenges that you had as well when it came to the staff, academic, administrative? Because I'm sure your skill set extended to them and wasn't focused just on the kids.
It did. One of the problems I had with a lot of the teachers back then, especially the younger ones, they felt that I was just being too soft with these boys. And then boy, all some big lick and, you know, we don't beat them. And I'm like, no, that's not it. You just need to sit and listen to them. Let us flip the script. Listen to their side of the story. But I go back to the point, and I've always said to them, it's easier for me to say that to you because my job entails them coming into a space, sitting down, and we talk, and we have the whole day to talk. You guys don't have that. When you have 35 minutes to deliver a lesson, then, you know, it is what it is. One thing I know that they knew that once the children came and made a complaint, I was going to engage them. And I remember this teacher put out a boy. And at the end of the class, I went to her and she said, may I wait for you, because everything them go to you. And I'm like, yes, that is what I'm being employed to do. I am their solicitor. I am everything for them. But after a while, the teachers just knew. And sometimes they would just come and report the board and say, Miss, I'm going to come tell you, so let me tell you my side before I reach. So that was it. And I must say, though, that the staff, the administrative staff was very, very, very supportive. I never got any pushback on anything that I do. A lot of the things I suggested was like off the chart. I would say no. You know, if a boy failed an exam I would say, look here, let us have some classes after school, man. And I get some teacher and say, we could go through this with them, man. I show the boy that him can pass it. Some people were resistant, but some people bought into the idea. When they saw the results, you know, they felt differently. So I got a lot of support. I get a lot of flack too, you know, but I can deal with that because those things, I just remind them, I said, this is what you get paid for. When I get paid for teach them, I get paid to look after them on the other side. So it worked. I will not complain about the support that I got from the school.
So was it that all your years were spent on the Melbourne campus as the guidance counselor?
Yes, pretty much. When I retired in 2016, and for some strange reason, I kept saying to them, guys, I'm not going to be here. No, you're not going. And every day they're telling me I'm not going anywhere. I said, what do you mean by I'm not going anywhere? I can't leave. I said, I don't live here. I don't live here. So, and Mr. Mary would say, don't listen to her. I would remind them in the and say, don't listen to her. So when it was time for me to go, they offered me a part-time job. So I came back. So my tenure ended at the end of 2016. But January 2017, I came back and they re-employed me as a part-time counselor. So I was now based over North Street. But luckily for me, I knew all the boys from North Street because I knew them from first form. So by the time I go over there, me and them good same way. So
that is what I'm glad you raised that, because that was what I'm leading to know. Because even before you returned and went over North Street,
yes,
I'm sure you would have been speaking to the guidance counselor at North Street whilst you're at Melbourne.
So because when I send them over,
what were your comparative notes like with boy behavior? And even though some of the cases are the same, but that counselor is now dealing with the older set. What was that interaction like with you and the next counselor?
It was very, very good. Very, very good, because all the children that had special needs issues, I would sit with her and say, this is for this child, right? Because you need to know, because then when I go over there, and as I say to the boy, I've always said it to the boys, I said, gentlemen, when you leave Melbourne and go to North Street, you go with a clean slate. I said, I'm not sending over any report about anyone and I care about. You go over there and start your own journey over there. So that was a part of it. And, they had any special issues, anybody who need to continue seeing their specialists. And so I would share that with the counselor. But in terms of the teachers and so on, no, they went over. And let me tell you, some of those boys, I never heard a word about them and their behavior. And the ones who had real issues, those would come up. But as I said, I had made the counselor aware that these children are in special counseling at child guidance clinic. So, talk to their parents and all of that. So the transition for them wasn't that bad.
So support.
Go ahead, Pete.
I was going to say that supports the stories we hear from some of the old boys we interview that talk about when them go to North Street is a different thing. The learning was different, the camaraderie is different, the results improved, the performance improved. They just took it to another level. So the connection was definitely true. Yep.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
So my question now is that as a professional that you deal with so much issues and childhood trauma, how do you manage yourself also, in order to be consistent with what are the expectations of your office?
All right, what I would do, I really believe in self-care. So when I get home, that was my space, my quiet space. I'd look back and I reflect on what happened in the day and so on. But one of the things that I did, and I make no regrets, make no anything about that my number was always available to the children and their parents. I said, listen, everybody need a support system. School is for X number of time. If something is happening at home and you need somebody to call to, call me. I've had calls in the night, boy planning to commit suicide. I'm have to talk to them. I'm say, look here, man, just stay where you are. Just listen to mommy until in the morning when you come to school. I will work it out. I remember a boy's mother called me at 4 a.m. She had two sons in the school, and the boy them fighting at the 4 o'clock. So when my phone rang, I'm like, oh, what time is it? And I look at it, it's 4 a.m. and she's crying. And I'm like, what happened? What happened? And she said, Miss the boy, I'm in a fight. I'm in a no, what to do? So I said to her, tell you what, let me talk to them. And I spoke to the two boys and I said, listen, you're going to stop it. You're putting your mother under unnecessary pressure right now. You make sure you come to school, and as you come straight to my office and we will talk. And gentlemen, the rest is history. History, because that lady just wanted somebody. Me never think she didn't understand that it was 4 a.m. in the morning. And that was what I remember. A teacher said to me one day, I don't understand, you give everybody your number. I'm like, yes. The nature of my job is that if somebody needs to talk to somebody at some point, they can call me. And I didn't have an issue with that. And I know when to step back. I knew, sometimes I was like, you can't call me. No, because I'm just cooking. Or, give me 2 hours and so. But I never, ever refused their call. They knew that they could call me. And I am grateful that I was able to provide that service. Sometimes just to clarify something.
And I'm so happy that that sort of still continues. But you may have your exceptions, because it took numerous calls from me to get through to you. And then when you answered, you said, oh, it's Pete's brother. And then that's when you started to talk to me. But I do understand. I know my place. This is not said from a place of envy.
Jealousy or envy?
Not
jealousy or envy. Okay, I am glad for that.
When I call you, I say, listen, I know you're not taking my call. I'm going to have Pete call you so that we can get this thing done. But it's all right, Sonia. But I'm happy to see that you still answer your phone.
But think about it. So I have warmed to you now. You can't tell anybody,
Yeah,
you are peeps now. We're peeps now. Trust me.
I figured you probably called Pete and said, talk to him about your brother. Like, I don't really want to let in anybody in my little space. But I appreciate Sonia. Sonia, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Sonia. I appreciate it.
But we're good now, right? We're good now.
God bless you, man. We are.
You can call me anytime, because your name in my phone, so when it come up now, I know say it's you.
But you probably save it as Pete's brother, but
no, I did not. But do you notice? Maybe I should, because do you notice that this morning when you called me, I said Perry, and I'm like, but it's not Marlon Perry name.
No. So Pete's brother, I'm gonna go to that.
Oh my God!
I am known in certain circles as Pete's brother, and he's known in certain circles as Marlon brother. So we'll go to that. Whichever way you want to remember. So good.
Yes.
Yeah, man. But I just did the math, So from 1979 to 2016 is 37 years.
Right.
And as you said prior to us starting, is that you more than likely gave up your youth. So,
exactly.
So and I can see the accolades hanging on your wall as well. That's some purpose stuff. So I assume it's some KC. Yeah, man. So what I'd want you to share with us, Sonia, is apart from dealing with all of those trauma, were there any memorable moments that stood out for you? And was there any, apart from the memorable moments, or including the memorable moments, was there any one individual or group of persons that left a lasting impression on you?
All right. I think the 2 most memorable moments for me at KC was when I started that breakfast program. And I started it, and I'm going to mention somebody, because people don't know, because I don't talk things, because a lot of people volunteer. They don't want no accolades. Them just and I appreciate that. But I remember this little boy, and when I just went to KC, one of the things I noticed that the school provided lunch tickets for the kids. And once you came and you were in need, you got a ticket. So, and this little boy would come every morning for his lunch ticket. So I said to him, but if you take the ticket now and eat, what are you going to eat lunchtime? I said, boy, I got you, man. I got you, my belly full. And that thing bothered me. It bothered me, and I'm like, my God. And one day I sat him down, never had any dinner. So it was necessary for him to eat the food in the morning, not wait till lunchtime. And I understood that. And I remember I said, I was there and I was always looking out for these kids. And one day, a former member of staff, she was on leave at the time, and she came and she said, Mrs. Watson, this is a little something from me and my sister. And she was on leave from Casey at the time. We want to contribute something to what you're doing, the welfare program. And gentlemen, I told her, thanks, took the envelope. When I had a chance to look in the envelope, there were three $500 in it, $1,500. That time, $1,500 coming like 15,000. I was blown away. And my initial response was, all right, the little boy are cool now. Every morning him can get him breakfast and then him get him lunch ticket separately. And then a voice said, why don't you start a breakfast program with the money? You have $1,500 now. So start up something. And gentlemen, probably it was crazy at the time. Didn't know how it was going to work out, but I took the leap of faith. I said, that made sense because he's not the only one in the school is like that. And I went to my colleagues and I said to them, gentlemen, I have a donation here. I want to start something. But guess what? You guys are going to be the bigger part of it. I said, I'm not begging any money. I don't want any money from anybody. But you see, at the end of the month, I want you all to go in your cupboards and anything that is left back, donate it to me. And we will feed the children. And some of them thought it was a good idea. Come, we don't want no money. We want thin stuff. And I started getting all kinds of things done. And more people hear some free breakfast down there and everybody start come. One of the good things about the breakfast program, the children who came for breakfast, they were never late for school because that was one condition. I said, look here, me not feed nobody come late. Someone have to come and breakfast time cut off 7:10, latest 7:15 because school started at 7:25. And gentlemen, everybody will come early. And after a while, it became a big joke because I tell you it was a leap of faith. And I was like, Lord, how this is going to continue? And the teachers were giving me things. And I remember, of course, now I know all who did I get barley, so willpower stuff me get, food, all kind of stuff what we never used to. So one day, two little ones came to me one evening and said, Miss, what's for breakfast tomorrow? Because them always want to know what I'm going to get next day. That time, sometimes them don't know so I have no food yet. So I said to them, oh, tomorrow we will have tuna. So he make up him face because he don't know tuna. So Ambridge, yeah, idiot, you don't know tuna. The green something one, but them use and wash here and them scrape out and thing. No, I couldn't burst in bubble, So I was like, it's not quite that. But when you come tomorrow, you will see what tuna is. Coming out bursting bubble. I don't know tuna neither. I'm going to tell the boy about that something where you scrape out and, people can do whatever. So that was a memorable moment for me. That they would come and they would ask me, what's for breakfast tomorrow? What was also very, very good is that when I decided to expand it, one teacher bring one little two-burner stove, come give me. One bring one pot, go up and make a tea. I got all kinds of things. Didn't buy anything at the start. We took what we had from our home because everybody saw the need. And then, of course, me one can't do it because there's me live far. So anybody who, at that time, the English staff room was next door to the guidance office. So everybody was brought into it because it's our feeding program. No, because we have hungry children now. So I said, anybody who came first in the English department, you go and they put on the water, light the stove. And that's how we did it for a while. And we fed the children. And then, so the nurse and I at the time, we were very, very close because she know all who sick because they're hungry. So she sent them to me as the counselor. So that is how we started. And then other members of staff came into it. And of course, my nurse friend at the time, her husband is a Casey old boy. So she know enough rich old boy. So she spread the word that we're doing this. And it went abroad. And then the support was tremendous. KCOBA USA, oh my, they sent us all kinds of things. So
more green stuff for scrape out.
No, let them kind of Not the two that you scrape out. And it was really, no. Let me tell you, that was one of my funny moments at KC. I couldn't burst the boy bubble.
Yeah,
I never make him look like idiot in front of him, friend. No,
I mean,
man,
of course.
When you come, man, you see the
You
two
still
now.
go on.
And the KCO boys, they started contributing through nurse because, as I said, her husband was an old boy. She lived in the States for a while, so she know everybody, and she was chief beggar and other members, and everybody threw in themselves, everybody. Then the parents heard, and everybody carried something. So, I mean, we got things all over. The $1,500. And I keep saying to people,
multiply, like when you all up the fish and the loaves.
And I also said, you know what? Every day I get up, I would pray and I said, God, help me to be a good custodian of this program, because all I wanted to ensure was that I was putting the donations and people's things to good use. So my thing was custodianship, right? Because you have to be careful what you do with what you're given to use. And that kept me all along. And then the support just grew. I remember one evening I was there and Madam All, my best friend out there, I said, Margaret, how are you going to get the boy them tomorrow? We have nothing, and we're broke. And we were there talking and I heard a knocking on the door at the end of school, and boy's grandmother. This is a child who has never had to ask for anything because his parents had it. And she said, Miss Watson, I brought something for you for breakfast tomorrow. And she came with liver seasoned up and the whole works. And I said, God, you're a good God, because we did know what we were going to give. And then we got a link with Nestle. So we started getting milk and Milo like trouble till all, boy, I eat them here and come now for breakfast. Everybody are coming out. So I said, no,
man, start skip them breakfast at the house.
Man, everybody. I said, no, it's not. So the thing go. It's for the needy, but everybody became needy. So that was a good thing for me. And I give credit to the staff at the time, the support system, the old boys. I remember an old boy came over one day and said, what you need? I said, I need a sink, because my uncle have a little empty room, I get a little stove, but I need a sink. And he said, no worry. And then put it in the sink. And people just gave things. Them old boy, them know, so them wife must have wonder who maybe, because every month them come with tin mackerel, all kind of something, We were never out of food, all because of the KC family. Parents, old boys, everybody threw in them little bits. And it was the next thing for me that was memorable was managing the scholarship program. And don't ask me how that starts, because Mr. Kelly at the time, came and he met me and he heard I was doing some things and, asked me, can I sponsor? I'm saying, yeah, man, anything on the man, I am here to manage the thing for you. I will be the guardian of what you're doing. And we started, and the scholarship started with about 10 boys. Now we have over 100 boys on the program. And those gentlemen would send money and ask me to manage it. And I would say to the boys, I said, listen, gentlemen, you said the people them who supporting you guys, they don't know me and they don't know you. They are trusting that I'm a reputable person and that I will guard what they're doing and get the best result. So I say, all who have a lot of score, this lot of score thing now work. So I would check the reports because I said, look here, man, people them have to get value for their money. Could
you quickly explain that scholarship program, please? Because we understand the gist of money coming and paying for, but can a little bit more details so for those who don't understand and probably would be encouraged to be a part of it as well in the future.
The New York old boys decided, a group of them among themselves, that they would sponsor a child. If I found a boy for them who I thought was needy, and if it got his help, they would have. And a couple of them did. And we started, I think, with about 10 students. But initially when we started, it was a one-off thing. So when the year done, that time with the 10 boy, I said, but gentlemen, this not going to work, If me hungry in a grade 8,
Yeah, go hungry in
And
a
that's
grade
the thing.
9.
I go hungry at 9 and 10
Yeah.
and they bought into that idea. They say, no, it's true, Mrs. Watson. We will continue. We'll take them up. So they took them from grade 8 to 5th form, helping them. So the money was sent. Well, they gave their donations abroad to the organization over there, and they sent the money to the school. So they had the name of the child they were sponsoring and the form, and the money was sent to the school. The money is managed by the bursary. So I didn't touch the money any at all. And as I said to them, you can always come in and ask to see how your money's been
It's going.
spent.
Yeah.
Yes, because the bursar's office had a ledger sheet for each child.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount that he was given at the start of, say, 2025, it's written on his card. School fee, take out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Everything down to the last cent.
What expenses were covered there, Sonia? So just to be a little bit clear, when
All
they
right.
send the money, what do you look? Yeah.
Initially, the scholarship, for the most part, covered their tuition at the time, because some people just couldn't and them owe 3 years of school fee. And if you know case, you go, they're not wearing it on for the money. But when you reach 5th form, you have to pay all the way you owe.
Yeah,
That
for
never
graduate.
because if you never have it first year, you don't have it 5 years down the road. And that was it. And then whatever was left, and that time school fee wasn't that expensive. So whatever was left over, if they wanted books, we had a bookshop there, thank God, books at the bookshop. So we just get something from the bursar's office, give them, go over there, them collect the books. And everything was done through the school. That thing has taken off in a way that is just amazing. More people have bought into it. But what I must say, that those children have done well. Nobody on the scholarship was ever absent from school. Nobody on the scholarship was ever hungry, because they knew that a meal was there, and they knew that they had to come and do well. But that was, I always whisper that, I said, members of the people, them don't know, oh no, and them don't know me. So we have to put up a good show. And we have number of doctors and law. Let me tell you something. When I see those boys, I just get teary-eyed. And I'm like, KC is a good school. When we talk, people don't understand KC, KC is not about track and field, Because for me, I am not into track and field, right? But you see the other part of KC where people don't know.
Come on, tell them, Miss Sonia.
What these guys have pumped into other children's life from grade 8. Some people sponsor them up to university. And the good thing, I must report that a number of the younger ones who benefited from the scholarship program, they are now sponsors themselves. By the time themselves, because I used to say to them, I say, when you done, you just one boy. I don't know how much one hour ago. One boy. If everybody take one boy, it will continue. And that is how it is now. Of course, some of them have taken on more than one. But let me tell you something. I keep saying to people, Bishop Gibson's vision was never lost on me. He said the school was made for poor Black children, and still it's predominantly poor Black people. Pick me who go to KC, but the vision is still there. They're still being taken care of, and that is the plus for me for this school. So when I hear people talking and them bad mouth, oh, let me not chance, I'm like, it's a pity them don't know. It's a pity.
It's all the support and the love and everything while we run a camp, so
exactly.
We don't understand the thing, you don't realize where it come from.
They will realize, them not understand. Them people they did hungry, all of them like, where them a run go? They're not running nowhere. And so many of these children have gotten scholarships and have gone abroad. Let me tell you something. When I see some of them, and they keep in touch with me, and they say, I'm doing this, who know they're Dubai, I do this, them go Harvard, them go Howard. And I'm like, this is just crazy, because somebody believed that it could be done, and somebody who nobody know name Miss Watson, just know. So we here say she go manage the thing, and entrusted me with this thing. And I tell you, for my almost 41 years, because I came back and I worked from 2017 to 2020 when COVID came, and then I said to the principal, no, this is it for me. This is it. I still go back and do volunteer work for them. I keep telling them that I don't work there, but them don't believe me, so them still call me. I say I don't work here. When I go, them give me a little food,
Well, Sonia, we have to blame your car, because when you jump in your car, it just drive, go to KC, you have no control over it. So we can't blame you. What you need to do is change your car. Change your car, Sonia, and you will stop go KC.
That is it. I swear that car only know one direction.
Change your car and stop go KC.
Only know one direction. So, they keep saying, you work here still, man. It's just that you're not getting a pay. They say, don't even have shame. I say, don't even have any shame. But tell me about me work, it's just that I don't get paid. No shame at all. But if I had to do it, I'd do it all over again. And I just want to say this about my life at KC. Once I was on leave and I went to an institution that was tertiary institution that shall remain nameless. And they, according to them, were very impressed. So I just came and I threw myself in the thing. And they knew that I was on leave from KC. So they sent to the head office and them sent for me. So I'm like, what is this for? Well, we hear about you, we hear about you. And we're offering you a post here. And I'm like, why? And then I remember the manager said to me, Mrs. Watson, stop it. We know say you don't get the pay. KC because teachers not get the pay. And look at what we're offering you. I was getting lodging. They were offering me the world and I turned it down. And then they had me in a meeting one day and they said, all right, be honest with us. Tell us why. And I said to them, this is a tertiary space. I believe that I can make a better contribution at KC than what I can make here. These are adults, so, I'd rather stay. And they took that. And I have not regretted that move. Some of my friends say, you have food, you can't get this and you can't get that. No, it was never about the money for me. It was always about changing lives and making somebody's life a little better, especially the inner city children who I love dearly. So, it is what it is. But as I say, if I had to do it all over again, I'd still do it. Because somebody needs to be out there to look for the children, look out for them. They're not all bad. They are not all bad. So, have I covered everything for you guys now?
God bless you, Sonia. I tell you, you did well on the pulpit there. God bless you. You preach it nice and proper, man. You preach it. Pete, we have to use some snippets of this for some of the promotional parts when we push it. I forget Sonia getting a spirit. I said, them people don't know KC. They don't know KC. So we have to strip that in.
They need to know that we have to manage the thing well so the thing can flow.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. And this has been the fire ever since I've met Madam Watson. So you can imagine since 1979.
So Miss Watson, we're going to ask you to wrap up in fine style. We want you to do two things for us. One, to wish KC happy 100, and two, to leave a positive message for the current students, and the academic administrative staff. And if you want to slip in something for Mrs. Esco, we don't have a problem with that.
No, we're not going to interview Miss Esco.
Yeah, man, we have Miss Esco line up, man. We have Mrs. Esco line up.
No, we have Miss Esco good. And let me start with the positive message for the kids. I want to say to the present students that do not focus on where you are now. You have been blessed to be in a very, very good school. And as I say, it's not about champs nor football. A school where your total need is cared for. Make the best use of it. Delay gratification. Because I've seen, and don't feel any way, we have had children who have fallen by the wayside, Because for them, it was always about the hype and, Tracksman can't get kicked and all kind of foolishness. All kind of foolishness. But I just point them to the ones who stay the course and have done well. And I want to say to them, trust the process. Come to school and do well. Come to school. I grew up in inner city. And I know that if I had not taken the school thing seriously, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I could not be speaking this message for some of those children who come from the inner city. So delayed gratification, you can get the name brand shoes and the clothes when you're done.
Yes.
But stay in a school, do well, because when you have your big job, when you have nobody can stop you from buying what you want.
Yes.
And you'd look back and you'd say, well, I earned this. I worked for it. And I can always point them to a number of doctors and lawyers who have come out of the inner city, who came to KC, living at the same inner city till them come out. Live a nice place now with them mother and them father and them brother and sister and themselves. So stay the course, because it won't be forever. And, it is just, and when you are finished, just make an effort to give back.
Come on.
Give back. That is my message. Just give back. Find one little boy. And if you don't know none, because you're a big thing now, you live uptown and you don't know no poor people picnic, just go down to KC and ask Mrs. Esco or ask Madam Hall or whoever is down there. Find one little poor boy for me. Find a little poor boy. And I'll end by saying this, gentlemen. There's a boy that the scholarship program helped. His two sisters went to Alpha. And just last week, the mother called, because, from time to time, these parents would call, are you okay?
Yeah.
What you doing now? And I'm like, I'm fine. What you do? I say, I am home. I'm rested. Go down to KC when I feel like. But that's it. And the lady said to me last week, Wednesday, she said, Mrs. Watson, my daughters never stop talking about you. I know what them say. Them sorry I never KC them go. So it's not a girls' school, them go Alpha. But because they saw the treatment that their brother got, and when them have them son have to come to KC. So KC still say same way. But those two Alpha girls, because those old boys back then, they sent all kinds, them have bag, them have this, that. Look here, man. I tell you, man, those people poured into the scholarship children. After a while, it became an envy, because when you see some people with something, so them they on scholarship. And when she saw what her brother got through KC, she said, no, the two of them, I'm sorry them never go to KC. But I heard the principal on Cool 2 weeks ago, on the morning when the band was playing, and they interviewed him, and he was asked whether girls would ever come. And he said he doesn't think so. Well, he has those two Alpha girls, ladies now, who are KC ladies. And as far as them know, it's only one school. One school is out there, and it's KINGSTON College. So I'll just say, just stay in your lane. Don't look to the left nor to the right. The program is a good one. Find somebody that you trust, because everybody not comfortable with everybody, and that's a given. That's a given. But, find your guidance counselor. That is what the person is being paid to do. The person is there to look out for your interest in every sense of the word. I remember a lady came one day, she going to beat the boy. So I said, all right, let me tell you something. You're not going to beat him here. Oh, we can't beat him after me beating him. I said, no, I say I can't beat him, but I can't beat him here. All right, you make sure, say as me don't talk to Miss Watson, you go to the road, And she went out the road, and the poor little picnic got follow mother go there. She did beat him. But she wasn't going to beat him in the school. Because I keep telling them, when you come to school and you embarrass your child, the child has to come back the following day. That's not nice. That's not nice. So, but it was a good trip for me there. And I just encourage all the young people, take school seriously. Take school seriously. And one other thing I want to say about to this generation, I'm not sure Casey can help you with this, but do not leave school unless you have a skill. You should be able to offer something else apart from just straight academics.
Yeah,
because where the world is
do
going
something
now,
with your hands.
Yes, man, because where the world is going now, you have to be able to do something with your hands. And I think that's pretty much it. What is Amos the next now?
Wish Casey happy 100. Yeah, that was your positive message.
Yes. All right. KINGSTON College, it's dear to me. I have worked there all my life. So it's about 41 years, maybe. I'm in 100 yet. All right. So, but it was a good experience, and I want to wish them all the best for the next 100 years. And brace yourself for it. You will still get the same kinds of students you are getting now. Continue the dream of Bishop Gibson. And gentlemen, remember that the brave may fall, but never yield. Falling is a part of life. And we're not fool nobody. You buck your toe, but you're going to get up and go again. And these are my few words to Kingston College. And I would say, Fortis forever, forever Fortis.
My gosh. Whoa, it seems like you need to come be a host at the 1925 and Beyond podcast.
No. I'm just comfortable. I'm just comfortable with you too. I'm just comfortable.
My gosh. But you see, we did tell you, you were like, oh, I don't have much. You spoke for over an hour about your KC story. Just to let you know,
yeah,
right? And that's how...
No, that's cruel. No, that's cruel. You told me 40 minutes. And that is why I always stood up for them, because there is good on the other side. There is good on the other side of these boys.
Wow.
So, and everywhere I go, it's the same thing. The greeting is crazy. Sometimes like people turn around and look and like, oh, where she come from?
Because you're that staple in the life. You have made that. You have made that impact on them.
I did it with a good heart. And I had a lot of fun. I tell you, I never had a dull moment at KC. Never. Because somebody always do something for me laugh. It was good fun, and they knew that as long as they were not disrespectful to the teachers, I had their back. So
that's good.
Gentlemen,
wow.
I don't know how to convince me to do this, because I said I was not doing it. I said it's 100 year. I am not at KC. I left from not. Why is it am I being invited to this?
Purple blood runs in your vein. Miss Sonia Wilson-Watson. Purple blood runs in your vein. 1925 and Beyond podcast. We just had another session. You have heard it. Since 1979, she didn't choose KC. KC chose her. She didn't choose teaching. Teaching chose her. She didn't choose English. English chose her. All talent came to fruition when she came to Kingston College. But the work then was all leadership through love. Started the breakfast program that I've heard many stories about. Not only that, the managing the scholarship program that I can tell you, we have witnessed boys that have become great men of society because of that giving back. So with this session, Miss Watson, I would say it speaks volume to true what KC is about, because everybody else come and talk and we hear these things. But when you talk about the impact with no Manning Cup, no champs, no school challenge quiz, no hockey, no basketball, no cadet, no choir, but just to talk about feeding young boys so they can learn. Making a young boy have a book bag that his sisters can say they want to go to KC, and if they have children, them can't go no other school but the greatest institution. A matter of fact, I might have you guys watch it and rewatch it for yourself. But let's wrap up this session with the greatest motto that came out of the greatest institution. And you said it as you ended your story, but we have to say it again. But we do not force any faculty or staff to say it, but we do ask the KC old boys, but we know you know it, so we're going to ask you to join us, please, Madam Watson, as we wrap up the session with the greatest motto out of the greatest institution. And it goes like this: Fortis, Cadere, CEDRE, non-Potest. The brave may fall, but never yield. Walk good. See you again on the next 1925 and Beyond podcast, where it get richer and richer. KC 100 we say. Fortis then, Fortis now, Fortis forever. See you on the next one.